Well, we're here with Joey Wells, a new women's basketball coach at Indiana State. First of all, Joey, it's been a wild ride over the last week, but it has a happy ending for you. And just talk about your feeling about that.
I couldn't be happier. Like I was been telling people, when I first came here, after the first 2 months we were here, or a month or so, my wife came to me and said, "Hey, I really like it here. This really feels like home." And as an assistant, you love that, but you're also concerned, what does that mean for us, in the future? Well, obviously being the head coach means we have a long-term goal to stay here a very long time.
You've been the defensive coordinator, from the time you've been here. So I imagine that won't change, but now that you have a chance to put your own stamp on the program, what do you intend to do, and what will be the same and what will be a little bit different?
Yeah, defensively, again, it'll stay the same, almost exactly. Offensively, what we'll do is we'll open up the reins a little bit. Coach Moore allowed me to be very involved in everything, which was great. So you won't see a lot of changes on the floor. Like I said, we're going to play defense. Offensively, we're going to stay with more motion. It's kind of a more 4-out, 1-in motion, open flowing motion. We're going to get up and down the floor, and we should be really exciting to watch.
What communication have you had with players outside the program who have committed and all that? I don't know how much you could talk about that specifically.
Yeah,
but
I can't say names. We had 3 commitments, obviously, verbal commitments, and I've had communications with all of them, and we feel like we're on board. They're still on board. Everything's good to go, and we should be signing them in November, along with, like I said, we still have 4 scholarships to give on top of those. So it'll be a total of 7 new bodies coming in.
Obviously, with the situation being what it was, you were thrust into a little bit different role. You had to be the interim coach, so you were in charge, but also you kind of had to keep it together a little bit too. I mean, talk about that and how you kind of approached that situation when you were down in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. Like I said, the whole way everything went down. But I have to take hats off to first our team. All players. One of the great things about them is we may not have one distinct leader, that looks over all of them, but they all look out for each other. And I think that's what's unique and is really going to help us this year. So they bonded together and made the trip easy. They policed each other, they played hard all the time, took care of business off the court and enjoyed themselves. So that part was really easy. And then I have to take my hat off to Mr. Prettyman for coming down and showing our players that, hey, you're important to athletics and to the Indiana State. So again, for our administration to come down and show that type of support means a lot.
As far as the job, it's more than an on-court job, of course. A lot of off-court responsibility and selling the program and all that. What's your intention on doing that part of the job?
Well, one of my first and foremost things I want to do is I want to get myself out there along with my family, and then I want to get our players back out there. There was a time when this program was top 25 in home attendance for women's basketball. And that's one of our pushes and one of our goals, to get back to that. I think, obviously, we've won the last couple of years, which should help, but I also think getting our players back out into the community a little bit more so they get to know us will also help drive those numbers up.
Just talk about your personal satisfaction, and when you were told that you were going to be the full-time guy, that had to be what was that moment like?
It was a little surreal. Like I said, it was kind of strange because, again, we were in Costa Rica. My focus was more on making sure our players got out of Costa Rica trip what they needed, team bonding and all that stuff. So it really didn't hit me until I got back here. I got home, and then Sunday I'm going, wait a minute, Monday is going to be my first day in the office as the head coach, and I get my own program to run with. And so, like I said, when it first happened, it was kind of great, that's great, but I was more focused on our players and our team goals. But on Sunday it hit me, and it's been static ever since.
Yeah, and talk about the trip. What goals do you feel the team achieved, and what got accomplished down there?
Yeah, well, obviously the competition wasn't great. We kind of knew that going into it. But we needed to make sure that we worked on being able to play the game for 40 minutes no matter what the score was. And that was some of the stuff that we touched on from last year's team, is we had a lot of peaks and valleys. If we're playing good, great, then it would start going south and we couldn't get it fixed. And so we were able to work through some of those things, I believe. And then just the team itself getting to know each other. We have a couple new players coming on board, so them getting able to see each other. And then some roles are changing in terms of, like I said, we lost our 3 top scorers. And so some people really have to step up. And so they had an opportunity to figure each other out and find those players that are going to do that for us.
All right, fair enough.